My friends, my friends, my friends. Good evening. And I do mean it when I say, please continue to eat. We've got delicious food here catered by our friends from Walla Walla. It's lovely to see you again, my sis. If you do not yet have your food, you want seconds, please do not be shy. We mean it. There's plenty of food, so go get more. Enjoy yourselves. There's one thing for sure about the Urban League is that we're going to feed you when you join us, all right? I am Nikenga Harmon Johnson. I'm the Chief Executive and President of the Urban League of Portland, as I have been for nearly 10 years. I am delighted to be here with you this evening, and I thank you for spending your time with us. We know it's Roundup, and we know everybody is here to let her buck. We like to take this time to have a conversation with community. We call this series of activities Community Conversations, Urban League for all of us, Community Conversations. Because our work, despite our name, covers all of Oregon and Southwest Washington. I pause because increasingly we are doing work in Southeast Washington, but I'll save that for next year. It's always a good time for me personally to be in Lincoln City, to be in Ashland, to be in Bend, to be in Vancouver, Astoria, Gresham, Hood River, Ontario, LeGrand, and of course Pendleton, for these conversations because it allows us to connect with one another, especially after having been apart during the pandemic. And frankly, because the longer I do this work, the more I understand how interconnected we all are, whether you're in the valley or not. And I also understand that there are lots of folks who, I don't know, like to make it seem like we're very different because our zip codes are so different. But here's what I learned when I come to this part of town, and my good sis from CAPECO can co-sign. It turns out that housing is unaffordable in the valley. It's also unaffordable in Wallowa County. We're dealing with issues of second homeowners in Lincoln City, making homeownership unaffordable and even rent unaffordable for working class people. On the coast, we're also dealing with the very same thing in Medford and Ashland. Oh, go figure. So maybe people aren't facing poverty because they did something wrong. Maybe people aren't facing homelessness because they're dumb, or they're bad, or they're immoral, or they're crazy, or they're on drugs, or maybe it's because we don't have enough housing in our state for anyone. Huh, what an idea. But when we come together face to face, we don't have to talk about maybes anymore. We get to learn from each other directly what we're facing in our communities and talk about the similarities and the differences. And then hopefully work together to make Oregon a state that belongs to all of us, to make Oregon a state where all of us can thrive. And frankly, to make this region a place that we can not only be proud of because it is so beautiful, but because we have really fixed the problems that our neighbors and our own families, friends, ourselves are facing. I say this all the time, y'all, as an Oregon girl, and y'all know what it is. We have a love-hate relationship with California, but mostly hate-hate. Not saying, I'm just saying. But we don't have California-sized problems in our state. They got a whole country they gotta fix. We have a relatively small population, a lot of land, but not a lot of people. Our problems are fixable in real time with the resources we have now. And I'm gonna say that one more time because soon we got a lot of elections, we got clamor, you're gonna see ads, you're gonna be reading things, and then we're gonna go into a legislative session starting in January. You're gonna be hearing people pointing and complaining, and this party and the other party telling you, well, this is why it's broken, this is why it's wrong, and we can't have enough, and we need more of that, and they wanna raise your taxes, and they're spending them wrong. And the fact of the matter is, right now, we have all we need to solve all of our problems. It's just that we choose to spend, well, I'll tell you, in Portland, we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on covering up graffiti. Cool, all right, you don't like graffiti, but there's homeless people sleeping in front of it. I'd kind of like to address that instead. There are lots of kids all across the state who can't walk to school even though their school is closed because they don't have sidewalks. I don't know, I would rather spend money on that instead. Right now, teachers are going back to school and they're paying for supplies out of their own pockets. All across the state, in every single county. I would rather spend some resources on that than graffiti. I'm just saying. I use that as an example, not to belittle the folks who are doing that work, and there's a place for it, but to say, I don't want us to be confused about the challenges that we face and the choices that we make with the resources that we have. Because there are people who want to make us feel like we don't have enough. There's arguments and conversations that want to pit me against you, so we all got to fight over the same one thing. It's just not true. That's my soapbox for the moment. But I want to tell you about the Urban League of Portland and why that soapbox helps me be good at my job every day. Because we are like 7 organizations in one. We offer services for our elders, senior citizens, both to keep them safe and age in place in their homes, but also through our senior activities program that gets them out and about doing fun and helpful activities. We offer after-school programs and the Summer Leadership Academy for our youth that helps them not only to have fun and to play, but to rebuild some of these social skills that some kids lost during the pandemic, and frankly, to learn about what their opportunities look like for the future. We offer robust workforce programming, not only just to connect folks with jobs, because that matters, and we do one of the best career fairs in the region, hands down, not because I say so, but because employers and recruiters say so. We got the job fair, and that's great, but we also have job training to prepare people for those jobs. Just today, I was in the lobby before we were taking off to loading vans to come over to Pendleton, and we had one of our new cohorts at our workforce program in, and they were talking to some of our friends from the carpenters, right, trade, and learning about what it's like to be a carpenter and what their career could be like and what the training part. I won't belabor it because I'm pretty excited about it, but that's the hands-on, high-touch work that we do with the Urban League. We do a ton of stuff under one roof, which means that we're like 7 organizations in one, but what does that mean for the people we serve? It means that we can wrap our arms around the whole family. It means that someone walks in the door and says, I'm about to be evicted, please help me. And we can help them with that, and also what led to the eviction concern in the first place, because maybe it's because they didn't have health insurance and their bills are too high. Well, there are folks on my staff, and even in this room, who can help anyone in the state sign up for health insurance that they can afford. Right back there, I love it. Then we can help you get the training to get the job. So not only do we help you stay inside, but we're helping to make sure the crisis that we helped you avert doesn't arrive in your life again because you've reached a level of stability with the wraparound services that we can provide. There's also something pretty cool that I want to tell you about what Urban League does. That's our advocacy and civic engagement. And yes, this is an example of that. We certainly have elected officials in the room, and Councilor Jackie Linton, thank you for joining us for the 2nd year in a row. It's lovely to see you. Our advocacy and civic engagement program allows us to not only reach out to community, not only help folks make sure they're registered to vote and make sure they know how, whether they're housed or unhoused, whether it's their first time voting or their 12th time voting, but also to host candidate forums. You can watch those on our Facebook page, and we will also be streaming them on YouTube. So candidates who are running statewide will be coming to the forum to answer questions that you care about. Are all those same candidates going to come to Pendleton and have a forum? I don't know. Some of them will, I hope. All of them? Probably not. But still, the service we provide you in this community is that we're asking questions about issues that you care about, so those candidates can speak directly to you no matter where you live. That's one of the things that our advocacy and engagement program does. But before I close, I will tell you we also have full-time lobbyists on our staff. And normally lobbyists is a big bad word, and we kind of hate the idea because they loot and pillage our government. My lobbyists work for you. They work for regular folks with regular jobs and regular concerns. They work for folks who are poor. They work for single moms. They work for single dads and small business owners. My lobbyists work for real people, so that when we go to Salem and are talking to the legislature, we can give real input, talk about real issues, and provide real data to lawmakers. Not just because we've read a book, but because we're here in community. And in fact, my staff has been all over town today at various sites, both providing resources, dropping off backpacks and health kits, and sleeping bags, dozens of sleeping bags for homeless services providers in this area. But we also will fight for you in Salem to make sure that you have the resources to provide those same things yourselves in your own community. And I know there's groups in this room who have already benefited from that level of advocacy. I want to make sure you understand that even though our name is the Urban League of Portland, We're nearly 80 years old. We turn 80 next year, and that's been our name the entire time. Maybe one day I'll have the guts to change it, but I do not. But we belong to you, and we're responsible to you. You can call upon us when you need us, when you want to, or just when you want to have fun. Because we're a multifaceted organization in service of African Americans and others to help all of us thrive. I am honored tonight to be in the presence of program participants from the Urban League of Portland, people who benefited from our programs and services. Urban League friends from both near and far. And I'm gonna, before I bring my vice president up for the next phase of our program, I wanna just take a point of personal privilege, and that is to thank my OGs. Y'all, 9 years ago when I started this job, we had 20 employees at the Urban League of Portland. We all fit around the conference room for staff meetings. Today we have more than 160 employees and 8 different sites. We've been voted the #1 nonprofit to work for in the state of Oregon twice in the past 3 years. The other time we were voted #2. I am upset about it. 2.5 feet? Like what do you, there's no phrase for that. But I say it out loud because we have grown very quickly and we serve thousands and thousands more people than we used to. And this time next year when I come speak to you again, we'll be bigger still. Not because that's the ego trip, because there's work to do. And people need what we do all over the place and we intend to give it. So when I am talking about my OGs, I'm talking about folks who've been with us from really the very beginning. Just nearly the time, in fact, 2 people who were at the Urban League before I even started, but other folks who were there during my first years. So Zena and Mamie and Ramon and Arlita and Julia, I want to say out loud to you, I appreciate you for hanging with me. I appreciate you for growing with me. I appreciate you for standing up for our community year after year after year after year after year, and doing it when it was hard, doing it when we were broke, doing it when it was very much not sexy. I appreciate you. And I can't all the time tell you that, but I hope you know it matters to me that you stuck with me through some craziness. And I will just say this, Madam Mayor-Elect, my first time bringing folks to the Roundup in 2017, I've been coming my whole life with my family, right? But I realize that a lot of folks don't feel like they can come to Roundup. Well, the Urban League is about placemaking and space making, so come on here and come with us. My executive assistant, who was in her 30s at the time, her mother told her not to go. If your boss is making you go to Pendleton, you tell her no. If she insists, you quit your job. Another person on my team who joined us for Roundup that year was a 50-something-year-old man who had been homeless on the streets for more than 20 years. His friends told him, oh no, do not go. It's not safe. He survived on the streets for 20 years. But coming over here was just too far. I say that because I make jest of it now, and they still came. Thank y'all, appreciate you. But because that is sometimes this invisible divide for no reason that it actually takes proactive effort to jump over. And the proactive effort is us raising money, dollar by dollar, coin by coin, to be able to afford to bring people to this excellent experience that is Roundup. And when we do, more come. I don't have to convince people anymore. I don't have parents trying to talk people out of it anymore. But that's only because we made a way and built a way. So this year we've got dozens of people at Roundup with the Urban League of Portland. We are spending tens of thousands of dollars these few days that we are here in Pendleton, in this county. And that's just little old nonprofit us. Imagine what we could do if we made more folks feel welcome in this community for this world-class event that is Roundup. I leave you with that thought before I bring my Vice President, Julia Delgado, to the podium for land acknowledgement and more. Again, y'all, please get seconds. There's plenty of food. Do not be shy or stand on ceremony. I'm delighted that you're here with us. Thank you.
I want to take some right here.
Hi everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Julia Delgado. I'm the Vice President of the Urban League of Portland. As the candidate said, I've been here at the Urban League of Portland for a really long time, and I'm very happy to be at the Roundup for my second year in a row. I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, and I never thought I would go to a rodeo town. It did not seem like a thing. Oh, I'm too far away. It did not seem like a thing that I would do. I was told also my whole life to stay away from places like this, small towns. And I had such a wonderful and welcoming experience, and I was completely wrong. And I thank McKenna for looking at me like, of course, it's a parade. I'm gonna have a great time. And I had a wonderful time at the parade and the rodeo. So thanks to the Pendletonians for being so welcoming to us, and we're so happy to be here. I want to start with a land and labor acknowledgement. So just to, again, kind of make space, set the tone, set the room up. I'm going to adjust the microphone because I feel like I'm too far away. Okay, Indigenous tribes and bands have been with the lands that we inhabit today throughout Oregon and the Northwest since time immemorial, and continue to be a vibrant part of Oregon today. We would like to express our respect to the first peoples of this land, which are now present day 9 federally recognized tribes of Oregon. In this region, this would be the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation. It's important that we recognize and honor the ongoing legal and spiritual relationship between the land, plants, animals, and people indigenous to this place that we now call Oregon. We recognize the pre-existing and continued sovereignty that the 9 federally recognized tribes who have ties to this place, and thank them for continuing to share their traditional and ecological knowledge and perspective on how we might care for one another and the land, so that it can take care of us. Additionally, we must acknowledge that much of what we know in this country today, including its culture, economic growth, and development throughout history and across time, has been made possible by the labor of enslaved Africans and their ascendants who suffered at the horror of the transatlantic trafficking of their people, chattel slavery, and Jim Crow. We are indebted to their labor and sacrifice, and we must acknowledge the tremors of that violence throughout the generations and the resulting impact that can still be felt and witnessed today. Additionally, we want to acknowledge a very important Native Pendletonian, Leon Ransom is a Native Pendletonian who is a friend of the Urban League, a friend of ours. He's unable to be here tonight, but we just want to highlight that this is a historic Oregonian cowboy who lives in Pendleton today. Leon is a Native Pendletonian. He is a historian for the Pendleton community, and he's also a historian for the famous Black Cowboy, George Fletcher, whom he grew up knowing. He's shared stories in various capacities in the book, Red, White, Black, the true story of race and rodeo. He shared his own personal memories and kind of a memoir about George Fletcher. And in the book, Letter Book, George Fletcher, the People's Champion, Leon helped provide his own knowledge about George Fletcher there as well. So we just want to honor a friend of ours, and if you're from Pendleton, you might probably know him, and we just want to honor him right now. And then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Rachel Hartley. She's a community engagement specialist with the Urban League, and she's going to share a little more history about some Black Cowboys who participated in the Roundup. Rachel.
Thank you, Julia. Hey, everyone. My name is Rachel. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist at the Urban League of Portland. George Fletcher's family was unable to join us today, but send their well wishes. George Fletcher was one of the best cowboys and bronc riders in the first decade of the Pendleton Round-Up. George once said that he learned to ride broncs on a barrel and that he was 12 years old when he first started to rodeo. George was known as a sloppy rider, but his style was relaxed and flowed with the broncs movement. When a group of cowboys from Pendleton area formed the Cavalry Troop D with Lee Caldwell as captain to serve in the First World War, Fletcher joined them and went to the war. He said he never rodeoed after he returned from the war due to a war injury. After the war, George started a new way of life and lived in the Pendleton area off and on, working on ranches as a cowhand. He was known as a loyal and dependable cowboy who could be trusted to do a good job. he was named to the Pendleton Round-Up Hall of Fame in 1969 as part of the inaugural class of 9 inductees. George died in 1973. Jesse Stahl came from Tennessee as a young man to California, where he made his home until his death. He began riding bucking horses in 1913 and competed from New York to California, and was likely the best black bronc rider of all time. He was a great bronc rider, but was most remembered for winning first and getting third. Jesse and another black cowboy used to exhibit a bareback horse with George Fletcher, ride backward, face to face, entertaining the crowd. Jesse was quite an athlete and a good bulldogger steer wrestler. In 1917, he set a record at the Pendleton Round-Up for dogging a single steer, a record that stood for many years. Jesse rodeoed until 1936 and died in 1938. Charles Sampson is called the Jackie Robinson of rodeo. Bull rider Charles Sampson was born in 1957 and grew up outside of Los Angeles, California. He became involved with horses in Club Scouts, and by 13 years old, he owned his first steer calf. A Boy Scout trip in 1969 led him to bull riding. At just 17, Charles won his first rodeo competition, subsequently receiving a scholarship to Central Arizona College. Despite numerous arena injuries, he couldn't be held back from success. At the height of his career, Charles was riding 30 to 35 bulls a month, keeping him on the road and in rodeo arenas for more than 300 days a year. In one 5-day period, Sampson managed to compete 8 rodeos from Oregon to Texas. Charles rodeoed for numerous years at the Pendleton Round-Up and was a 2-time bull riding champion here. He retired from the sport in 1994. And 2 years later, was inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. In 2008, he was inducted into the Rodeo Hall of Fame at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. More recently, Charles was inducted into the Cowboys of Color Museum in Fort Worth, Texas. Thank you so much. Now, I will turn it over to today's second co-host, Danetta Ma, Associate Vice President of Programs and Chief of Staff for the Urban League of Portland, to introduce our guest speakers this evening.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Hey, not yet. Okay. Mess with this.
Hello.
Lord. Okay, so my name is Danetta Monk again. I'm the Associate Vice President of Programs. I've been with the Urban League for 8 years, and I'm from Portland, Oregon. So I just want to highlight that. Everybody is not from here, so for our special Oregonian girls, you know, we here with you. I wanted to say that this is my first year attending the Roundup, that I've heard great things from my colleagues, and I've been talked into it by our president and CEO, so I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to introduce our 2 guest presenters today. First, we have Wendell Hearn from the Cowboys of Color Rodeo in Texas. Wendell is the son of Cleo Hearn, who is a National Cowboy Hall of Famer and founder of the Cowboys of Color, the largest multicultural rodeo in the world. Second, we have Aisha McElroy. She's a 5th-generation cowgirl and the founder of the Black Cowboy Coalition. She'll share information about her experiences as a cowgirl in the Black Cowboy Coalition. I'll now pass the presentation to Wendell to talk.
Thank you very much. And on behalf behalf of Cowboys of Color Rodeo and my dad, Wendell Hearn, we want to say thank you to the Urban League of Portland for having us up here to share what we've been doing and what he's been doing for over 50 years. Cowboys of Color Rodeo, like he said, highlights the things that African American, Native American, and Hispanic American cowboys did in the West. It's like we say, when nobody ever told you there was a black cowboy. If you look at the history books, we're somehow just left out. But we were there. If you go, I say this, the Goodnight Loving Trail started in Fort Worth and comes up to Montana. There were black cowboys on the Goodnight Loving Trail. And any other trail that drove cattle to market, there were African American cowboys there. And that's what the Cowboys of Color Rodeo is here to do, is to highlight that, to bring that to life. And I like what she said. She said she's been coming here every year to to Pendleton, but nobody looks like her. When we started the Cowboys of Color Rodeo in 1993, it was a spinoff of the Texas Black Invitational Rodeo. And my dad, in 1971, started the American Black Cowboys Association. The first city they went to was New York City. And they put a rodeo on for over 3,000 people in New York. And actually, if you go to YouTube and put in Black Rodeo 1972, there will be a trailer that pops up that they actually made a movie about that rodeo. And that was his goal. And I say that to say this is how rodeo has built through the years. As a contestant, I've been to rodeos where not only I was the only black contestant, I'd be the only black person in the city altogether. But through the years, we've put on rodeos, and especially in Texas and Oklahoma, we've seen it grow. We put on a rodeo in Dallas, the Texas Black Invitational Rodeo, for 35 years. This year, at 4:30 before the rodeo started, it was completely sold out. That's 7,000 people in the building. I remember the first year we put it on, the building, they only used half of the building because they couldn't fill that up. But now we're filling that rodeo up, and we've seen it bleed over into professional rodeo. There's a rodeo in Texas, at Mesquite, Texas. When I started competing, again, only black people there were the contestants. You go there now, the fans are multicultural, and you'll ask them, well, we went to the Black Rodeo in Dallas, and we saw it, and we liked it. And then it's no longer that they're just a Black Rodeo fan, they became a rodeo fan. And that's what he wants to do, is expand rodeo to anybody, because the Cowboys on the West, it didn't matter what color you were. It's about, can you do the job? Because when they're out on the range, it's you and the group of people that you're with. It's who you depend on. And that's a cowboy way. We depend on each other regardless of what color you are. Didn't matter we say in rodeo, we're not competing against each other. We're competing against the lifestyle. So we can be rodeoing together, and hey, I can have a new truck, new trailer, go down the road, and I have a blowout. How am I get to the rodeo? Here comes my friend. Doesn't matter what color I am, we're together. I'm in the truck with him going to the rodeo. Because that's the way we rodeo together. And that's what we're looking to build with the Cowboys of Color Rodeo. That clip was from the Fort Worth Stock Show, the big rodeo in Fort Worth. We've been having that rodeo for 12 years. That was his dream. Another one of his dreams we realized 3 years ago is we took a Cowboys of Color Rodeo to the State Fair of Texas. And actually we have that rodeo coming up on October 13th. So it's some of the things that we've done that I hope that's why we're here, to help bring that to Pendleton. I competed over 20 years in the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. This was one rodeo I wish I could have competed in. But it was like, it's just 1,800 miles from home, and that's a long way to drive. And it was like, you're gonna pass up 5 or 6 rodeos to get there, so it was easier to stay at home. But when I drove by there today, I'm like, I wish I could have competed and done it. And I'll tell a story. I see the story of George Fletcher, and it reminds me of another cowboy named Murtis Towne. Murtis was the first cowboy, African-American cowboy ever to go to the national finals. And at that point, it was in Oklahoma City. And there was many nights that Murtis would win first, but on the paper, he won third. You know, he was the guy that said he should have been a world's champion. And I always, when I'm a second generation cowboy, my dad, Leo, had no background in rodeo horses or anything. Went to his local rodeo in Seminole, Oklahoma. He saw a black cowboy named Marvell Rogers. At that point, he said, I want to be that guy. Marvell turned out to be his hero. There's a picture on the Cowboys of Color website, cowboysofcolorrodeo.com, a picture of Marvell riding a bucking horse, and he was doing what they call the freight train. Marvell rode a bucking horse with a cigar in his mouth. Every time the horse's front feet would hit the ground, Marvell would puff out smoke of the cigar. That was a way to show how much control he had of the animal. And that's one of the, I always bring up Marvell because it's not for Marvell that there's not Cleo, then there's not Wendell. 2 of the guys that showed up there, Charles Sampson and Fred Whitfield, those guys competed at Cowboys of Color Rodeo. There's 3 guys, African-American guys entered in the rodeo today at Pendleton this year, Corey Solomon, John Dowd, and Shad Mayfield. They competed at Cowboys of Color Rodeo. So we like to say that it's a stepping stone for guys in going on to the professional ranks. That's one thing that we're proud of, and we're looking to keep going. So when we come to Pendleton, I can't tell you how great it is to be here. And I just hope this gets bigger, that you can bring more African Americans to get them to understand that you're a part of this. And we're all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendell. That was great. Next, we're going to have Aisha McElroy come up and talk. Thank you so much for being here. As a 5th generation cowgirl and founders of the Black Cowboy Coalition.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Well, first off, I would like to thank the Urban League of Portland. Stephanie, Miss President, Justice, thank you so much for having me, having my family to be present, my 2 little girls who are also cowgirls. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. So it's a great honor to be here. I mean, I've never been to Pendleton, so this is a new experience for me. But really, who am I? Who is Aisha? You know, who is this girl up here? So I am so many things other than a cowgirl. I am a technologist, I'm a change manager, and I'm a leader. I have worked in corporate IT for over 20 years. I have worked in cybersecurity, infrastructure, project management, change management as well, and many different areas within IT. I started though in high school when I was in the computer academy. I would take computers apart, put them back together, and give them to underprivileged youth in the community to use. So computers have been in my blood for a long time. I'm a nerd, like seriously, I am. But I also am a corporate cowgirl. So this cowgirl thing is what I love. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So I've had a very interesting career. I mean, you would never know, by looking at me. I've worked for so many different Fortune 500 companies as a high-level IT infrastructure manager. And I had a very interesting career, especially based on my background. So I'm originally from Oakland, West Oakland, to be exact. And if anybody knows West Oakland, California, it's pretty ghetto. It's a little hood. And we were very fortunate though. I was raised by a single father. And he did a great job immersing us in different programs. So we were in dance, we were in karate. I went to all black karate, all black ninjas. Can you imagine that? And it was predominantly men, all black ninjas. I was around the age of them as a little karate ninja. So I was very fortunate to be immersed in that. I saw my first black cowboy at around the age of 7. I was outside my house playing hopscotch or something. And it was after the Oakland Black Cowboy Parade. And the guy was just kind of lingering. He was just, I don't know where he came from because there was no other horses. And I had never seen a black man on a horse. And I was just like, what is this? Like, it's like a unicorn. Like, what? This is amazing. You know, so to me, that experience, I remember it like it was yesterday. It just made me feel like I can do and I can be anything because I had never seen that before. It was incredible. But as God would have it, that very next year, I was trained by those same black cowboys from the Oakland Black Cowboy Association. So through the years, somebody help me adjust this a little bit down or something. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's do this. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Let's go. It's gonna hit me. All right. So, excuse me. As I was taking these lessons, and I would take them here and there, my family really wouldn't talk about agriculture or anything. So I thought I was the only one in my family who was interested in horses, and had taken lessons. And I was around 33 when I had a conversation with my grandfather. And he had told me that we come from generations of ranchers, baby. You're not the only one on a horse, you know. His father was a farmer and a rancher. His grandfather was a rancher, and so on. And what's interesting is my great-great-grandfather, my grandfather would tell me that in Clarks, Louisiana, which is still considered to be a village to this day, I believe it was like in the 1800s, not sure, but they were known for having the Cadillacs of horse and buggies during that time. So they were doing it, you know. They had hundreds of acres of land. It was so much history that my grandfather was able to share with me that I had these relatives from Texas, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Arkansas, that have been working within these industries for years. And so I understood why at 4 years old, I told my mom, my birthday's coming up and my pony, is it gonna be here? Because I should have a pony. Like at 4, I really thought I should have a pony, but my mom lived in Manhattan in the city. So I don't know where we're gonna put that pony, but that was why in my blood, it just felt like I was always connected to horses and just animals in general. I love animals. So it was really beautiful that I was able to learn that from my grandfather because, you know, a lot of those conversations that I had with him were very casual. And when you have somebody in your life, sometimes you take them for granted and you think they're always gonna be around. Well, my grandfather passed away last year at 96 and a half. Make sure you get that half because he was scolding me if I didn't say that half. He passed away, and I was just grateful because a lot of the stories that he shared with me, a lot of my relatives had never heard of anything. They had no knowledge of. And so a lot of that I was able to capture on film, and I was able to share with others. So I just say that to encourage you all that you have elders in your family and you're just lacking that knowledge of how did we get here? You know, what was grandma like? What was life like growing up? I think it's really important to start today because you just never know. Once that person passes, that history is gone. He had no other, he was the last one from his siblings to be living. So I'm really grateful that I was able to spend that time with him. So in 2020, after a divorce, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And I was going through my healing journey. I was starting over. And I decided that I wanted to volunteer at a barn because I wanted to learn more about stable maintenance, horse maintenance, and just the everyday today care for horses and livestock. So I reached out to a black barn owner, JD, in Atlanta, Georgia, sent him an email, asked him if he was looking for volunteers. I didn't hear back. So I said, all right. Well, a few weeks later, I got an opportunity to go into an IT engineering position. And I said, hey, this is a new area. This is cool. I can check this out. The day that I was going to accept that offer, JD responded by email and said, hey, come on down. Of course, I got an opportunity for you. But of course, it was Monday through Friday, unpaid. So I had a decision to make. I was really at a decision point in my life where it's like, okay, keep on this high-paying path or go down this path that you love. You might not be getting paid for it, but you will learn more. You will learn everything that you need to know going forward to your next path, on your next path in life. And so I chose to volunteer at JD's Ranch, and I'm really grateful I did because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't. Black Cowboy Coalition wouldn't be here. And I was just really grateful because not only did I immerse myself in barn maintenance, I learned a lot from JD and his staff. I learned a lot about horses from just cleaning their poop. If you ever want to just learn about horses, clean their poop. Clean it, because you'll learn a lot about their personality. Some of them just trifling. And you talk to them like, now, Ronnie, you know you trifling. But they'll listen. And maybe next time they won't be so messy. But you learn a lot about their disposition, their attitude. You learn a lot about their personalities, just being closer to them. And then I think that they respect and appreciate you a bit more than if you were to just jump on them, put a saddle on, jump on them, then go into their home and clean up and take care of it. So I do think they really appreciated that. But outside of those educational lessons that I learned, I was surrounded by black cowboy after farmer after rancher, and all of these cowboys that had these businesses. And I'm like, hey, I never heard of you. And there's like a lot of you guys out here. So one day it just clicked, and I said, let me just find out more about these black cowboys, where they're located, and what they're doing, because maybe I could share it with somebody. Because where I was from in the Bay Area, and we talked about this earlier, the cowboys out there are a little bit pretentious. And so it was interesting to get to know really down-to-earth cowboys. So what I did was I started analytics, and I gathered this data, and I put together a Black Cowboy directory. And that's what we have today. So I used my IT expertise and put together a directory for the general public so that you're able to find, locate black barns, black cowboys, black organizations, and it's growing every day. And also out of that, the Black Cowboy Coalition was formed because the directory came before the actual organization. When that directory started to take off and I understood there was a need for programming, that's what I did. I started to implement programming. So, Black Cowboy Coalition, you know us to this day, probably by our social media. And I appreciate everyone that follows us and, enjoys our journey and participates in our journey. But our organization is about programming at the end of the day. So, if you'd like to talk to me after this little speech, this little engagement, and to find out more about Black Cowboy Coalition, I'm out of time, y'all, I'm sorry. Just let me know. And again, thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Aisha and Wendell, for your inspiring stories and, letting all of Urban League of Portland know your stories. We're very inspired and happy to hear from you guys. And I'm going to kick it now to our young professional who's in the building, Skyrim Webb.
Thank you, I appreciate that. First of all, I want to congratulate all of you for understanding the assignment. You look fantastic. In fact, I look like this 90% of the time, so I didn't buy a single thing to come to them. This is what I do. Aisha, super honored to meet you. I've been following the Black Cowboy Coalition for a while, so I'm fanboying a little bit. So I'm a young professional. What does that mean? The way I would spin that is, I'm a millennial. Everybody complains that millennials complain. We're young millennials. We are those who have skin in the game through volunteerism, community engagement, activism. That's what we do. We're those of us who are millennials who choose to get actively involved in the community. We want to be a part of the solution, not just complain about the problem. And for the low price of $50, which is membership for young professionals, I was able to come to a rodeo that I've been hearing about for 2 years, and I'm super excited to be here. So I'm super thankful getting involved with the Urban League. My mother's actually the director of programming in Little Rock, Arkansas. So that's how I connected here. And I'm just happy to be here and give it away this stuff and not look odd walking around Portland. So it was really good to be here and happy to be here with all of you. So yeah, that's my designation as a young professional. So again, let her buck. I'm going to get back to my president. Well, my newfound president. Yes, ma'am.
Hold the mic, Sarah. I'm on my way.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just listening. I wasn't planning this. Thank you very much. Okie dokie. That's so funny. I was just enjoying myself. I work here. At this moment, we want to take a break to honor and amplify the work of local young professionals. One of the things that we do when we have community conversations is to highlight, to lift up, to amplify voices of folks who are doing like-minded work in the community in which we stand. I see some of our past honorees here. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a way for us to further unite community, but also to share the Urban League's resources with folks who may not have the same platform we have, and we think it makes a real difference. So, and this evening, I'm super excited that we're doing something special. In fact, this is the first time we have done this, which is fitting because we've got a history maker who we're honoring tonight. City Councilor and Mayor-Elect McDonald is a lifelong Pendleton resident, currently serving her third term as City Councilor, representing Ward 2, and will soon be the mayor of Pendleton. Okay, cool. Mayors are elected all the time, whatever. It seems like she's involved in politics and stuff, so that's nice. But what's super cool is that she will be the first woman mayor of Pendleton. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we were talking about young professionals just a moment ago. Thank you, Skyrim. This honor that we have is new. And I'm really delighted that we're able to share it with our friends here in Pendleton Because one of the things that we try to encourage people to do is to be active and engaged in their communities. It's not always easy to do, but it makes all the difference in the world. At the Urban League, I say, we are who we serve. I want to build a senior services program that is suitable for my mother. I want to build affordable housing that I would be proud to have my brother live in. Everything we do is because we serve the community in which we live and the people that we love. So engaging in public service is just the same thing. It's the amplification of living that mission and serving your community and your family. And it's better if it starts when you're younger, because you get better and better at it. You build power for longer and longer. So we have created this award to honor Mayor-Elect McDonald as our 2024 Young Professionals honoree, because we want to celebrate you and what you've already done and what you're about to do, Madam Mayor-Elect. Please join me up here, Mayor. Thank you, guys. You're so very welcome. Oh, pictures. Thank you. I will give the Mayor-Elect do you want to tell you what? I got an idea. Hold on, Mayor. Seriously. We still in business? I think we're still in business. All right. Madam Mayor-Elect.
I think the joke that I've been told is once you have the title of mayor, you can talk for an infinite amount of time. So I will keep this short and sweet. I wanted to thank you so much for this honor and this recognition. I'm very humbled, and I've learned so much about your organization tonight, and I look forward to continuing the partnership as I take over the reins of being the mayor of the city of Pendleton. We have a few council members who have attended your events year after year, and they've had nothing but amazing things to say about the partnership. And so I think having those experiences and those connections are really important for our community as much as it is for your organization. So I just wanted to say that. And for all of you who are here in Pendleton for the first time, I want to say welcome. And those of you who are back, again, thank you for coming back. I love this community, and I was asked the other day at an event, what was my favorite part of the Roundup week or the Roundup experience? And I said, you have to be here to experience it. It's a feeling like no other. Just the energy and the people and the excitement that comes to our community in this week, the volunteerism that reigns true. I was joking with a person that I work with, and I said there were 5 people at work today because everyone was volunteering in the community or experiencing it, and our entire community wraps around this. So on behalf of the city of Pendleton, thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to seeing you all here again next year and maybe around the next few days. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor-Elect. It's delightful to have you here, and I want to thank your husband for joining us as well. I'm going to bring my colleague, Vice President Julia Delgado, back to the podium for our next few awards. Julia?
Hi, everybody. We have, like, spoiler alert. I want to acknowledge now our community champions, which is a slightly different. This is awards that we've given in the past, and again, we thank previous honors for being here. So the first honoree that we're going to recognize is the Community Action Program of East Central Oregon, and their mission is to assist those in need by combating the causes and conditions of poverty to enhance well-being, dignity, and justice through direct delivery of services, partnerships, and advocacy. And we'd like to invite Claudia Limon, the program director on behalf of the Community Action Program, to accept the award and share how you can get involved. Claudia? I can hold it, it's fine. All right. Hi everyone, my name is Claudia Limon, and I am the program director at Community Action Program of East Central Oregon. It's CAPECO. It looks like CAPECO, but it's CAPECO. And we always say, you gotta get it right? Say your name right. We'll teach you how to say it. And we've been in Pendleton since 1987. We are a community action agency. We provide services across all all ages, and from homelessness to home ownership to aging in place services, meals, all of the above. We're the regional food bank. The programs that I oversee include our Project Turnkey homeless shelter here, emergency shelter called the Bronx Inn. It's on 2nd and Dorian. You drive by, you'll think it's a motel. Everybody during Roundup tries to get a room, and we're like, no, we're good. And we also do all of our housing programs, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, moving assistance, whatever people need to get back on their feet, right? We are also the lead agency here in this area for the point in time count, but we can't do that without all of our amazing volunteers. So if there's anybody in the community local that would like to be involved in the point in time count, it's a pretty amazing project we do. It's a lot of work, and it's really great to see the outcomes and also to get involved in our unhoused community. Get their buy-in, make them feel seen, make them feel heard, and listen to what they have to say, because what is it? Nothing for them without them, right? So we want to hear from them. We also do weatherization and energization, you know, the whole gamut. But we are a service agency. We are hosting, I want to invite anybody who's local, on October 11th, it's a Friday, in Hermiston at the Armory, Project Community Connect. It's a resource fair that we have for our unhoused and our unstably housed. So we bring all the resources that they could need. We have health screenings, food, meals, haircuts, clothing. Sometimes we can get the shower chair there. Sometimes we try real hard. And all of the service organizations that are in this community that serve Umatilla, Morrow, Gillum, and Wheeler counties, we bring them together. So if you're around, if you'd like to volunteer, if you'd like to donate, please come see me. I do have some flyers for it if you're interested, but we invite anybody to come and participate in Project Community Connect. Again, October 11th from 10 to 2 in the Armory in Hermiston. But thank you all. It was great being part of this event. Thank you. So the next award that I have is to recognize the Black Cowboy Coalition. You've heard a little bit about the Black Cowboy Coalition, a groundbreaking organization dedicated to empowering disadvantaged youth and adults nationwide and forging stronger bonds among Black Cowboys and the broader community. So Aisha, if you wouldn't mind to accept the award.
Thank you guys. You can find more information on our programs on blackcowboyco.org. We're also on all social media, even LinkedIn, if you'd like to learn more. And if you'd like to volunteer, you can shoot me an email or just shoot me a message or talk to me today. Thank you guys.
And then, of course, last but not least, is the Cowboys of Color Rodeo. The Cowboys of Color Rodeo is the largest multicultural rodeo in the world. They use their platform to educate further and bring awareness to the multicultural history of the American cowboy through products, apparel, content, and experiences. And again, if you don't mind, Wendell, we would love to ask you to come up and accept the award.
And you can also reach us at cowboysofcolorrodeo.com is our website. Right now we're doing 3 rodeos a year. We're in the Southwest. Martin Luther King birthday, the third Monday every year with the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, which if you've got the Cowboy Channel, it's on the Cowboy Channel every year. Then the end of July, we have a big rodeo, the Texas Black Invitational Rodeo in Dallas. And again, we also have the State Fair Texas Rodeo, which actually is coming up on October 13th.
I think I'm going to stop right there. Okay, yeah, they cut off our mics. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to President McKennon Johnson to close us out for the night. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody. When the microphone dead, the party is over. That's how it works. There's still food, so you can get some, and you should. Don't be shy about taking it home. I mean that. I, again, am the Kenge Harmon Johnson, the Chief Executive of the Urban League of Portland. We are a 79-year-old organization that has been coming to Roundup since 2017. This year is our biggest group, even bigger than last year. We've got guests in from out of town, from out of state, from out of the region, joining us for the first time. And I'm delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your energy, but also for taking back the story of our roundup. Other folks need to know it's lit. It is super fun. It's super accessible, no matter what you look like or where you're from. And you only get that, as Madam Mayor-Elect said, by coming here to feel that energy. I love it. I always have a good time here, and I'm really happy that we can share that feeling with others as much as we can share the story. I am delighted, as a little old Salem girl, that we are able to scrimp together the tens of thousands of dollars necessary for us to put on this event. It is not a small thing. It is a very big deal to me when we're able to spend money in communities that we serve. I am so proud of it. So I want to thank all of you for helping me to live my dreams. I also really want to thank my mommy, Wendell Hearn, who is here with us. For telling me that I was smart and assertive, not bossy. I was in college the first time when someone called me bossy, and I was aghast. Called home and said, "Mom, can you believe it?" And she got quiet. Whoa? Oh, okay, cool, but now it's too late. And I'm able to use those powers for good because you have always supported me and helped me understand who I am and that I have responsibilities in my community. And that can be a light, bright experience. It doesn't have to be the doldrums. It doesn't have to be all sadness. Fighting racism for a living is a dumb job. It's a man-made ailment, right? It's not like fires caused by lightning strikes. It's something that we do to ourselves. So that makes it dumb, but it's important. And it's hard, but we can win. So I thank you, and I thank you, and I thank you, and I thank all of you for being with us here tonight to help prove the very point that we, together, friends and neighbors and business people who give a darn, can make a difference. Right here where we are, just because we decide to. Thank you so much. Have a good night.